All right, welcome into Floor's Yours, an extension of Five on the Floor on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. This one goes on our YouTube channel, although you may be listening to it the next day on our podcast app. So thanks for that. Also, check out 5reasonsports.com as I try to get my computer turned off here. ESPN, man, they do that automatic video thing. It drives me crazy. Anyway, check out 5reasonsports.com for all the latest content. Brady Hawk has 2 new pieces up there already, so check those out. He's got a takeaways piece. Brady, by the way, I think was like 100 for 100 on his predictions on Twitter today. He's doing pretty well for – how old is Brady, Alf?
I think he's like 16. It's insane.
It's crazy. We had to make Alex feel like an old man. So anyway, all of his stuff's on the website right now, including not only the takeaways piece, but also he transcribed the Zoom calls too that 3 Heat players, I think it was Duncan, Jimmy Butler, and Jay Crowder and Eric Spoelstra did. So check that out. Also, check out all our great sponsors, including the sponsor of this particular episode, Biscayne Bay Brewing Company. This one is the IPA, the Tropical Bay IPA. I got a lot of Marlins Marlins Lager that's in my fridge right now, the bottles. So check this out. Biscayne Bay Brewing is the official craft beer of Inter Miami, the Miami Marlins, and 5 Reasons Sports. This is South Florida's actual independent brewery, owned by local guys who employ people in this community to make their beer right here in South Florida. They're committed to our community and to 5 Reasons Sports so we can keep pumping out all of this local sports content. If you care about local business and drinking amazing beer, get their stuff at all local retailers, including Publix. It's the beer we're drinking at 5 Reasons Sports. And I tend to nurse beer, but I'll get through this by the end of the episode. All right, so Alf does not nurse beer. All right, let's get right to it. Today's floor plan is about all of you. We're going to delay a little bit because we're going to allow people to come on. If you check out our podcast feed, you'll already find that these 3 guys did an episode right after the game. It was up within an hour of the game. 17. Thank you, Brady. It was up.
I was way off.
I was up within an hour. It was up within an hour of the game. So check that out. They went through everything that happened in the game, including Duncan Robinson, the closing lineup, some of the overpassing, and a very, very long and detailed Manscaped advertisement. So it's worth it. It's worth it for that alone. So go to the podcast app for that. So we're not going to sort of overdo it on today's game. The 4 of us, it was 109-100. The Heat go up 2-0 in the series. Duncan Robinson had 7 threes. Jimmy Butler was aggressive, and Goran Dragic has been the best guard in this series by far and was really, really good.
Hot take.
Again today. I mean, it's not even close, is it? I mean, before we get to everybody else.
You not consider Jimmy a guard?
No.
Really?
No.
I mean, on offense.
I think he's a guard.
He wasn't listed as a guard. He wasn't listed as a guard for All-Star. He's not introduced as a guard by Eric Reed. Duncan Robinson and Kendrick Nunn were.
I guess.
So
and now, right?
And now Dragic is in the backcourt, so I mean he's certainly one of the guards. I don't know. I mean Duncan, Jimmy, who's the guard? I'm not sure, but I'm going to say that Goran Dragic has been the best guard in this series. Goran Dragic has been better than Victor Oladipo. Would we all agree on that?
Has he been better than Brogdon though?
Yes.
That was the one that stood out to me, just because I think Brogdon gives you the defensive side.
He's been better because we're 2-0. That's why
exactly.
He's better.
Right. Well, I'm looking at it. Brogdon is
poor guy.
Brogdon is 10 of 32 in the series, Alex.
Hey man, the guy did not get traded to the Pacers to run their damn offense.
But he's 10 of 32.
I know, man.
He's shooting under 30% in the series. I know Greg can sometimes be a little over positive, but Greg's correct on this one. Let's before we bring everybody else in, and I do want to bring in comments today. This is about you guys, not us. One of the things I want to do on the show, if Manny can handle it at some point, is at some point we're going to take a commenter and send them the actual feed so they pop in with us. I don't know if we're going to do that today, but that's an idea I've had, so I figured I would spring it on everybody here on the air. All right, let's get to some of the numbers today, and then we'll get to the comments. And then again, I don't want to overdwell on the game because we did a podcast for that. But Robinson with 24, Dragic with 20, Jimmy with 18, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals. Also 5 turnovers, of which 3 of them were him driving to the basket and chucking it back over his head, which is something that I wish he would stop doing. Bam Adebayo had 4 personal fouls, so that kind of limited him today. 7 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, only 7 field goal attempts. The bench, Herro was 4 of 14, but was their most productive player. Offensively, Olynyk had good minutes today, 7 points, 7 rebounds in 12 minutes. Derek Jones with a point, a couple rebounds, couple assists in 13 minutes. And Iguodala was 3 of 4 from the field and had 2 blocks and a steal, and has continued to kind of look like he knows where he's supposed to be at all times. Indiana, leading scorer today was Oladipo with 22, but 5 of 14 from the field, 17 each from Turner and Brogdon. Aaron Holiday had 12. TJ Warren, Bubble Warren is dead. 38 minutes, 7 of 15 from the field, -7, 14 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. He was okay. He has not been great. So before we get to these comments, give me in 30 seconds each. 30 seconds. I know this will be 30 minutes. 30 seconds each. Your overall take from today. If you could barrel it down into 30 seconds, Greg, you start.
If you told Nate McMillan that Duncan Robinson was playing 25 minutes, Bam was going to have single-digit points and rebounds, I think Nate McMillan feels good about the result, and he lost. So ultimately, I feel like there isn't much Indiana can do differently in any of the subsequent games from the first 2 that is going to change the result of the series. And I said Heat in 6 initially. We may be looking at a sweep.
Alex, other than praise of Brogdon.
I mean, I still think it's going to be Heat in 5. I still think every game is going to be pretty close, more or less. That maybe the Heat get up a bigger lead in the third or fourth quarter, but it's going to be a competitive 5-game series. That's all I can say. It's reminiscent of that Heat Sixers series last time the Heat were in the playoffs. I feel good about their defense now. I think that's kind of my biggest thing right now, or better about their defense, given the shorter rotation. Given Kendrick Nunn and Myers Leonard not being out there, it's just kind of made them a little bit sharper. So I think that's pretty big. I feel great about Andre. I feel great about the improvements that Tyler and Duncan have made. I think all of it is, there's no fluke about it, and they just kind of look ready, like they're ready for the stretch, man.
Alf,
I see that they've settled into their 9-man rotation. Mm-hmm. It looks like they've settled into a closing lineup, which we've kind of yet to see all year. Just settle in on 5 guys. We see the 9 guys they're playing. All of that is very exciting, but probably the most exciting thing to me so far is to see that they've made adjustments in game where they might start out, something's working, Indiana makes an adjustment, and the Heat are quicker to make an adjustment in this playoff series than I've seen them in a long time. And to me, that's probably the most exciting development, where maybe it's not rotation adjustments, it's more just gameplay style adjustments, and it's happening quick and it's happening on the fly, and it's really good to see.
What do you guys think of my theory, which I actually put up before the game, that there's going to be a lot of quicker series than there usually are? Because if you have a team that I know Indiana was supposed to be the home team, but look, Miami was the better team during the regular season and probably would have been the 4 if things had played out. Okay. Typically, when you go down 2-0 in a series on the road, it's typically on the road, right? And what sustains you as a team is you're going home, right? Well, that's always the comments. It's like we lose 2 games in somebody else's building, but we get to go home now. We're going to be in front of our fans. We're going to be with our family. And it's like this hope, okay? Well, there's none of that, right? All you're doing is playing the same damn team you don't want to see anymore in the next game that's just like the last game. And here's the other thing about it. You're stuck in a fucking bubble, okay? Away from most of the people you care about, some of the people you're sleeping with, okay? You want to get out of there, all right, if you don't think you have a chance to win. I think that's going to change the dynamic. I think a lot of these 2-0 series are going to go 4-0. I don't know what changes, from the first 2 games to 3 and 4, as you talked about, Leif. I mean, what is it? There's nothing, right? I mean, there's no change of scenery. There's no change of how the officials are going to call the games. They're going to call the games the same. You're playing in the same place. You've got the same background. You've got the same people around you. And the other team is just better. And I think at a certain point, you look at game 3 and you're like, okay. And if they fall behind early in game 3, I know Nate McMillan hasn't played hard.
Then they're done.
They're done. And I think, I did a story on this on a couple teams today. To me, that's the same thing's going to happen in the Sixers series. I think the Sixers are getting swept because why do they want to be there anymore? The only team I think may make a push that's down 2-0 is the Nets, because they've been playing so hard for that coach in here. And also, a lot of them are trying to prove they should be part of the supporting cast when Durant and Irving come back. So I feel like the Nets will play hard, but the Sixers are done, and to me, the Pacers are done.
I mean, the Pacers went into this before any game was played, and they essentially said, like, we just want to get out of the bubble alive. And I know that they've kind of switched their tune and said we're here to win and things like that. But like the phrase I used on the pod was incomprehensible demoralization. Like you're going to keep going out and getting pounded by the same team, and there isn't fans. There's nothing like that's going to change the dynamic. You're not going home. I don't see where they make an adjustment, particularly Indiana, who is short-handed. Like, what are you going to do? So ultimately, yeah, it's going to be incumbent on the Heat to put the to sweep them and not let the foot off the gas pedal. But I don't see what incentive Indiana has to hang around.
I mean, other than agreeing with my theory, Alf, do you see anything that Indiana could make an adjustment that would change the series? Because I just don't think they have the bodies to do it.
I mean, like I said from the beginning, what it's gonna take for Indiana to steal a game or two is gonna be one of their guys getting nuclear hot, just unstoppable. And it doesn't look like Oladipo can sustain it for long stretches. It looks like TJ Warren has been figured out. One of the things I've seen with TJ Warren is force him to pass because he can't. He's a terrible passer. They just trap him a little bit, throw a double at him.
Yeah.
And I mean that pass is about as errant a pass as you'll see in the NBA. So it's really like down to like guys like Oladipo, Sumner, one of the holidays, most likely Aaron.
I mean, maybe TJ Warren. Maybe.
I don't think he has it. I don't think Jimmy will let him.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, TJ's had some pretty decent games, man.
Yeah, but I think he needs to go 40, 35, 40, 45. Like, he needs to go nuclear.
Like he did against the Sixers.
Let any of these guys go.
Like he did. I mean, Jimmy will literally stop doing everything else to make sure that doesn't happen. Like right? And if he doesn't, they have Crowder or Iguodala to do it. I just think there's you throw Bam on him for a few possessions. They don't have enough explosiveness to really. They're a grinded out, play hard, stay close, try to win at the end type team that plays with some intelligence. But like
both of their offensive engines are really out.
Right?
Yeah.
It really is unfair. I mean, without Sabonis, we haven't really talked about it enough. It's really unfair. I mean, he is their all-star. I mean,
it would have been a great series.
He's their Bam. Yeah. I mean, not their defensive Bam, but in terms of like a pillar of a franchise cornerstone, right. That's who he is.
He might be the best screen setter in the NBA. When after watching a few of the Heat Pacer games this year, it's him, Gobert, and Bam right now. But
but Alf, they need that because they don't have a lot of explosive players on the wing. They can't get a couple comments coming in. I do want to start getting to them. One of them that came in, and I think this is reasonable to discuss since we're always looking forward. I mean, if you're watching Victor Oladipo in this series, I think and you don't remember 2017 that well, you're kind of wondering what the big deal is. I mean, we've been talking, right? I mean, we've been talking about him a lot. This comes in, from Curtis. Depot ain't the same. It's concerning because it's been months. He's had months recovering from the quad. I don't know. Maybe he needs to get to a different program to be.
I think he's in that first year, man. I think he's in that first year that Hayward was in last year, where he looked really rough. I think Paul George had that first year where he kind of didn't look quite as good. Didn't play that many games. I think when he came back from that serious leg injury a few years back, I think he's in kind of a similar position. I've actually been kind of encouraged with Depot. The thing is, they can't rely on him to collapse the paint, which is what they really, really need, because Brogdon and Warren can do the one-on-one stuff on bad matchups, but they can't do it all game, which is kind of what they're reverting to because they have to keep chasing down these bad matchups. And Oladipo just can't collapse the paint on a consistent basis. And there's been a couple of times I'm like, okay, he looks pretty good. Okay, the jumper looks good. He's playing good defense. So, like, he looks a lot better than Hayward did last year. I will say that. Hayward was just horrible last year.
Yeah,
and now he's like an all-star or like almost an all-star again. So I'm just waiting to see how he looks next year.
I kind of feel like we always were looking at next season as the evaluation period where you find out what Oladipo can be and if you'd want to invest in him. But there's another element to this. If he goes to Indy in the offseason and says, I want out of here and I'm leaving next year no matter what you guys do, so figure it out, there could be the opportunity to capitalize on a discounted price for Oladipo based on the play that we've seen. So I don't necessarily think that it's the worst thing, even if he would be a Heat target. Although the spoiled Heat fan in me says he's probably like 4th on the list or something like that.
Well, yeah, but here's the other problem with that. Okay, and I get it, but if you were to say his value has been diminished enough that maybe you can poach him, or maybe he forces his way out and so he has less value, you also have to acknowledge that the core piece that you might have been sending there
is not playing.
It's not playing. In Kendrick Nunn, because I mean, I'm not trading Tyler Herro for Victor Oladipo under any effing circumstances. I mean, Tyler is making reads like you talk about all the time, Alex, but just some of the passing today he's next level at this stage. And again, if you go back to the draft, like none of this was discussed. He was a shooter, and that's it. And I also
work. It's really just work. You can tell he's doing he's watched so much film on these guys. Like he's mimicking a lot of these players, kind of like the score first guards. He does a lot of the same moves now. He's very good at, just being patient out there. And it's good that this is happening so quick before he's even grown into his body.
But it's not just – I'm with you that it's work, and I think it's really encouraging because now we can put aside all the East Coast Kuzma stuff and everything else. Obviously, nothing has been a distraction to him. But the thing about it, it's not just work. You have to have the physical capability to be able to do some of the things he's doing. I think what was underestimated when he came in, not work ethic. Look, he got himself to Kentucky, okay, to play for Calipari.
What a theory we've got there.
Sean Rochester puts in, he creates unique passing angles because his arms are so short. I think we should bring Nikias on to defend himself about that one. Shout out at Nikias NBA if you want to add somebody on that one.
Is that what they mean by intangibles?
We're also getting a hashtag Katya culture. Sure. But the thing about it is he obviously has a higher physical ceiling than he was given credit for into the draft and on draft night. Okay, whether it's the short arms or being white or whatever it was. All right,
he's white.
Sometimes you don't know it.
Oh, okay.
Right, but yeah.
Does he? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right. So David Panic tweets in here or comments in. When is Tyler untouchable? It's getting close, isn't it? Isn't it? I mean, Bradley Beal, no. I mean, we had J. Malcolm Falcos who came on and said, I'd give him Herro, Robinson, and Nunn, all three of them, just to get Bradley Beal. But I think for most guys, he would be, right?
Yes. I think the short answer is yes. I think if you polled all Jimmy and Bam, they would probably say yes. The only I can't let it leave my gut is that Caron Butler was also once thought of as untouchable, and Lamar Odom was a brand new shiny new toy free agent that was signed, and those two got packaged right on out for Shaquille O'Neal. So
for the most dominant big of his generation. I mean, and I know he was on the decline, but not that much on the decline yet. I mean, I
guess I'd say this: if all of a sudden Donovan Mitchell can be obtained for Tyler Herro, I just think, he scored 57 the other night. Riley's going to think about that. But ultimately, I think he's moving in the direction of kind of untouchable until further notice.
Curtis Herro punches in. Utah wants Herro and D-Rob. I wonder why if we get Mitchell. Yeah, I told you, Herro is not white enough for them. He would not work in Utah.
I think you're looking at guys like Beal, Mitchell, and Giannis at this point. For you to give up a cost-controlled asset like Tyler Herro, somebody who you already have closing for you in playoff games at 20 years old. Like, they obviously believe in him a lot, and he factors in significantly into their future. So if it's not one of those top-tier guys, I don't see it happening for an Oladipo at all. Like, you'd be crazy. But those are Herro is too ethnic for Utah. But those are the guys. I think when you talk about guys that the Heat are targeting, those are the three guys. After that, I wouldn't put him for anybody else. And once you put Herro in the deal, you can't add Duncan to it unless you're talking about Giannis.
This comes in from Pop Royalty Stand that Utah's not giving up Mitchell. Let's be real. That's possible unless guys want to force their way out. I think. You made a really good point there, Alf. We don't talk about enough because it is critical. And when you talk to people inside the Heat organization, they use that phrase all the time. The Marlins used to use it, which is cost controlled. I think we look past that sometimes. But when you have cost-controlled players on your roster, guys who are signed for a couple of years at low money, that then you have the right to extend the qualifying offers and sign so that they can't go anywhere, that is enormous. It allows you to do so many other things. Yeah. And like they have Herro, Nunn, whatever has happened with the Kendrick now, they have Herro, Nunn, and Donovan and Duncan Robinson cost controlled at the moment. Now Bam's not going to be soon. And I just think that's the piece that you have to think about. You can't now. Donovan Mitchell is also cost controlled.
There you go.
And so Utah does not want to give him up under any circumstances unless he forces his way out. So somebody just tweeted. Can I say that comment for people? So that Alex's shirt has a worse connection than he does. What is going on there? Why is your shirt moving, but you're not?
I don't know. They're not messing with the message, man. It's messed up.
You got hands on your shoulders,
dude.
You're putting up one of those fake backgrounds, is what you're doing.
Oh look, I'm just gone right now. Can you guys even see me right now?
No, you're all frozen.
It's like frozen on my end. Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna.
I think somebody in Washington D.C. saw that Black Lives Matter shirt and decided it could be shown on the screen. Curtis Hero says getting Mitchell puts us in play for a big four. Bam and Mitchell on a rookie deal with cap holds in 21. No, absolutely, and I know Greg's tapping his head here. That's clearly what they're thinking. But as Pat said, he's been very open about it. Over the past 24 months, Pat has gotten much more open about intentions, and he has said repeatedly, "We just need a guy to say he wants to come to us." And that's it. So they have ways to get to Donovan Mitchell. He's in the same damn bubble. All right. There are ways to get to Donovan Mitchell and say, hey, Bam wants you here. Do what you have to do. I mean, if you don't think, I'm not going to accuse them directly of tampering, but if you don't think that some of the intermediaries involved in that, including Dwayne, didn't have anything to do with Jimmy's, agent and other people getting a little bit more public about the interest in Miami, you're kidding yourself. Okay. That stuff happens.
I've talked to people really close to Donovan Mitchell, and since before he was drafted, the two teams that he has always kind of aspired to play for are the Miami Heat and, I hate to say this, the New York Knicks.
Ew.
It's interesting.
I love it. I love that that's the second team because it's like, okay, they're not even going to fucking be a threat.
No, but there is this. Okay, there are certain guys. Kyrie had this until he spurned them and went to Brooklyn. There are certain guys that there is still appeal to going to New York and fixing that mess. Amari Stoudemire had that in his head when he went there. He also had in his head that they didn't take any protections against his injury, so he was going to get his money. But there are certain people who think, okay, if I get there and they have now, does Donovan Mitchell want to play for Tibbs?
Doesn't Mitchell's dad own the Mets?
He has a piece. Yeah, he has a piece.
Okay, so somebody said Mitchell's dad played for the Nets.
He played for the Mets. No, I don't know if he owns them, but he's involved in their. He has some kind of a front office role with them. I don't know if it's an ambassador role or something, but he's tied to them in some way. Yeah, there we go. So he could be close to his father. That's a possibility. Joshua Batista comes in with that. But I also think there's appeal to trying to fix that, and you can't really be the star in Brooklyn anymore because obviously they have Uptown. Alfredo says he's in the front office. I thought he was tied in there somewhere. You can't really. Brooklyn doesn't need to be fixed. New York does. So it's possible. But is he going to choose that situation to go play with who? R.J. Barrett and what?
LaMelo Ball.
Well, the difference is there's Miami Heat players recruiting in the bubble, and the New York Knicks are not in the bubble.
right.
Hold on. Who will be recruiting for the Knicks right now? Julius Randle? Who's under contract?
No, they all want to leave. Who would it be? R.J. Barrett, right?
R.J. Barrett would probably be telling people don't come here.
Maybe Knox.
R.J. doesn't want his shots taken.
Nobody wants to go play with Kevin Knox. Let's stop.
Definitely not. All right, I want to settle a debate here. We got to come up with something because I heard you guys. Chris Childs is on there. I heard you guys talking about this on the pod, and I did put this on Twitter. We need a name for the third quarter. Because if today was not a third quarter, they scored 39. So I polled a couple of these, and I'm a little surprised by what's winning. I just took suggestions from people. We're not going to do culture quarter, Greg. Sorry, we're not doing that. But the one that's winning, the one I thought would win is thirst quarter.
That's terrible, Ethan.
I thought that would win.
I thought Turnt would win.
Turnt is winning. Turned
That
quarter.
would.
Oh
And
my
for,
God.
what I would say is do not change the name of the third quarter, because that's like the worst reverse jinx that I've ever heard of in my entire
We're
life.
going to be
Like,
responsible
what
for this.
are you possibly thinking trying to change the name of the third quarter to something positive? Like there's a like,
one good third quarter.
yeah, exactly. You're like listen, like just make the 5 reasons jinx like super real. Honestly, delete that poll right now. It's not going to happen. One of the most cathartic things is going into the third quarter knowing you're going to blow the lead, and then when it doesn't happen, you're like, woo! But like if now we're doing a third quarter, like we can no, get rid of it. It's a terrible idea. No.
What did JW got Gabe say? Oh, he said it sounded like an OnlyFans quarter, thirst quarter. If we did that,
like
it's probably it could be
thirst
sponsored.
quarter.
It could be sponsored by OnlyFans or IG. One of those.
It's still the third quarter. It will be the third quarter until they
The
win.
Twitter president speaks.
All
3
right.
more championships.
I tried bird quarter. We what else we got? We got the rating threes. We got Wade quarter for the number 3. Biscayne. I'm not even that far through this bureau. I will be. I'll kill a couple of these guys. By the way, this episode is sponsored by Biscayne Bay Brewing. Find them at BiscayneBayBrew.com. This is the official beer of 5 Reasons Sports Network, Inter Miami, and the Miami Marlins. And that's the website. So go check them out. We're going to be doing watch parties in December. I promise you guys. One other question that came in here. We got a few minutes left. Greg, you tweeted about this possibility of Embiid ending up in, of all places, Milwaukee. How does that happen? And why?
I have absolutely no idea. I want to clarify that was totally just speculation on my part, because I think that Milwaukee's going to come to a place in this playoff run where they realize that they have to bring in somebody to convince Giannis to stay beyond who they have. I just don't think they have enough. And so I'm scouring the league for the guys. Some people replied to me and said things like Chris Paul, Bradley Beal, which I actually think those are probably maybe even more viable. But the overarching point is that, and because I do think Embiid and the Sixers, that there's a breakup that's coming there. And I would just look at a team like Milwaukee to say, listen, we're never going to have a generational talent like this again. So they're going to throw 5 first-round picks and 2 good players. I'm making up a deal, but like essentially bet the farm on trying to bring in a guy that can keep him in Milwaukee.
But Cleveland tried this.
Middleton has 2 points tonight. I just wanted to point that out.
Oh, no, I know. And throw it at Nikias. But Cleveland tried this. This is the interesting question, Greg. I wonder if it'll work for Milwaukee. How's your shirt doing, Alex? Is the better connection? Looks like a better connection.
We've got enough.
I text you the fix. Did you try it?
The fix.
Go to your text. I sent you how to.
I can't do it.
It's a tech fix.
That's really weird. No, I can't do it. As soon as I open another app on the computer, I'm just gonna lose it all.
It's not that. It's the same. Look at the bottom of the screen you're staring at. Like, how am I explaining this to a young person?
I don't know. Well, you would have to explain it to me. That's for sure. Alex's shirt is in the thirst quarter, sponsored by OnlyFans. Let's get back to this. Cleveland tried to do this, Greg. They tried to bring in Stoudemire. They tried to bring in Bosch, and Chris was like, "Fuck no." So I mean, you have to have a guy who'd want to go there. That's the other thing. I mean,
it's
Milwaukee's
true.
not all that different to Cleveland, right? But this comes in from Adrian Gray. Embiid is absolutely somebody who would make Giannis want to leave. That's
good point.
Possible. That might drive. Wouldn't that be great if Embiid, who ultimately, I know Jimmy has a relationship with him, but Jimmy left Embiid, and ultimately Embiid's the guy who drives Giannis to the Heat. I can't take this anymore. We could do that. So this is an interesting one from Josh Pisa. Don't sleep on the Bucks getting Kevin Love. I could see that. I still hate the contract, but it's another year down the line.
I don't like that.
No,
I don't like that. I think that they already have they have an elite defense, and I think putting Kevin Love in there is just kind of like you can't hide him the way you can hide Brook Lopez as a rim protector. I just don't think Kevin Love gives you enough.
They need an offensive creator. Like, that's what I am just ultimately seeing, like someone in the half court that could just get buckets and not do it by just barreling to the rim. I don't know if Embiid's that guy, but Bradley Beal certainly is.
Maybe Malcolm Brogdon. That'd be a good.
I was gonna say Brogdon sounds like someone who could help.
Well, I said that last year that ultimately, if Giannis leaves in 2 years, you're going to hear about that again. You're going to hear about it because superstars remember this, like the guys that they trusted, who they played with, who the organization didn't want to pay. And that, it happened in OKC. It's happened in other places. Like you got to take care of the guys that are there. By the way, playoff. We got this from JW Got Game. Playoff Dion is better than playoff Middleton. Dion played 1 minute in game 2. I want to go around the NBA a little bit while we got a couple minutes left. All right. The Clippers lose game 2. I thought that would be a 7-game series, so I'm not stunned. But Dallas gives them real problems. The Lakers are in real trouble.
Tonight. I can't wait.
They're in real trouble. Because,
no, they're not.
Yes, here's the thing.
Are you serious, Ethan? You of all people.
They are not that good. Their guard play.
The Blazers, yeah, I know.
No. The guard play on that team is the worst guard play in the bubble. You cannot tell me anybody else is worse. They shot 6 of 37 the other day. They're not playing JR.
They just need to hit threes.
JW, I'm not doubting the King. Okay, trust me. I never doubt the King, but he has put together one of his worst supporting casts. It's garbage. That team is garbage beyond its top 2. I don't trust Kuzma as a third, and their guard play is awful, and their bigs don't give them anything offensively other than Anthony Davis. I'm not a fan.
Listen, when you make Hassan Whiteside look like Alonzo Mourning from Game 6 in Dallas of 2006, like when that's what's happening, like that's not a good sign. And that's what happened in Game 2.
I know.
Game 1.
Listen, I don't know if they're in trouble in this series. I'm gonna let Alex go last because he's itching. I don't know if they're in trouble in this series. I think it's going to be a long series. I think it's at least 6 games. But they're definitely in trouble in the next round and the round after that. Like I don't even think I don't think they're getting to the conference finals. And if they do, they're definitely not getting to the finals.
Oh man, when are we gonna learn our lessons, man? This is something that happens every year. There's like surprises right at the start, and then all of a sudden LeBron wins 3 in a row, and the game.
But is it a surprise? Like I don't think this was a surprise.
No,
a lot of people were calling this.
The Blazers healthy are better than a regular 8 seed, right? They didn't have Nurkic, who just makes them way better when he's on the floor. They didn't have Collins, who didn't even play that much last game. But at the end of the day, like now they've got Whiteside as a backup center. I like their team. The problem is this matchup. Like who is gonna guard LeBron for the rest of the series? I'm sorry. Like at the end of the day, once LeBron turns it up scoring wise, and he's just getting to his game, like I think Melo's checking him.
Alex, as somebody who sat there, and I want to pull this card. Somebody who sat there courtside and watched LeBron for 4 years.
Oh
okay,
my God.
Boom in your face.
He is not.
There's 7 games under 500.
He is not that guy anymore. He's not. He's just not. The
I know he's not that guy, but
he's not that. He's not. He'll maybe take over 1 or 2 games in a series. He's not going to take over 4. Now, can Anthony Davis take him over? Yes, but I think you're underrating. First thing, you're overrating. The Lakers guards are trash. The second, and you're going against elite guards. Okay, and this maybe the most elite guard in the whole damn league right now. All right, and the other thing about it is you're underrating Portland. To say that they were better than an 8 seed, if that team was healthy all year, that's a 3 seed. It's a 3 seed. They're right there. They're right there with Denver, in my opinion. They're right there with Denver.
I'll say this. I understand the spirit behind what Alex is saying because, like, ultimately, you always feel like LeBron's going to figure something out. In the first round, especially, it would just be so unprecedented. But I think Dame has more of an advantage in his matchup than LeBron can have. And I just don't know how much scoring LeBron can really do. Like, it's going to be a situation where is LeBron going to go get 50 in multiple games?
They have to hit threes. It's that simple. I think we're going to see.
But they're not a good 3-point shooting team.
Okay, but they're going to end up running more lineups with pretty much Anthony Davis is the only big out there. I wouldn't be surprised if we end up seeing the adjustment if, like, they really start to get on the ropes where they just completely, only one big is even getting minutes outside of AD. I think they're just going to go to more of those lineups because they can't create any type of offense when they have those 2 big lineups, which I was good with all year. I mean, their defense was elite because of how good their bigs were protecting the rim. I just don't think it's realistic who are their wing defenders? Melo and Gary Trent Jr. I'm sorry. I just don't think that's a viable strategy. I think the 3-point shooters, even though they're not a great 3-point shooting team, they have enough guys who can make open threes. I think LeBron and AD, once you do the LeBron and AD pick and roll surrounded by 3 shooters, a team that was, elite at defense all year, I'm just not buying the Blazers thing. I think it's going to be a really close series as far as the games, right? Like, I think we're going to get a lot of competitive games. But I'm not buying this at all.
Quick question. Right now, who with the way they're playing since the restart, who has the best player? Who has the best player in that series? With the way they've been playing since the restart.
Well, LeBron's
Dang.
the third. LeBron's the third best player in that series since the restart.
That's
I just
LeBron's never
think
been in this
we're moving the
situation
goalposts,
before.
man. We're moving the goalposts. I
I mean,
we all know who the real best
Alex,
players are.
Alex,
Damian
Alex,
Lillard can't provide the same type of defensive.
Alex, look at
Okay.
the Lakers. You look at offensive rating. Look at their offensive rating in the bubble. They're averaging under 100 per 100 possessions. I mean,
I'm not one to make conclusions off of small samples. We saw the whole sample all year. Was LeBron and AD, and this team is an elite team. I'm not just gonna go against that because they've been a little bit slumpy in the bubble.
It's the prudent approach. It's the prudent approach.
They have 2 of the 6 best players in the world, and they had an elite defense.
Listen,
we're 3-point shooters to make some shots, and they're gonna be right there.
We're sculpting a narrative of Anthony Davis to Miami this offseason. So just let us sculpt the narrative, Alex.
Could you imagine Anthony Davis next to Bam? Oh my god!
Oh.
It happened in my 2K my career, and it's literally unstoppable. I'm also playing on pro.
Let's close this because I know everybody wants to go. By the way, Chalmers should sign with LA. He's better than their current guards. So this comes in from Ada. Let's throw this one out there. You can only have one with this Heat team: Giannis or Anthony Davis.
Oh, come on, Giannis.
Giannis.
No question.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Alf, are you sure?
Like I said in my career on 2K, they're really unstoppable, man.
Spo with Giannis? Think about this, guys.
Spo with Anthony Davis.
Spo with
I
AD?
mean,
With AD?
Jesus.
Who has AD been coached by?
Frank Vogel?
Before this year. I mean, Vogel's okay. This comes in from 5 Reasons. So Manny did this. He says, did this on a poll 2 days ago. Heat culture picked Giannis. I don't know. I mean, some of the games in the bubble, Anthony Davis has looked like a top 3 player in the world too. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he gave a real tribute to Kobe last game, going 8 of 24.
I get it.
That wasn't my joke. I mean, I know.
I saw it. I saw someone else there.
I hadn't seen it. I hadn't seen it. Good stuff.
All right. We'll do this. Anthony Manzano says, "Can you 5 Reasons Sports? Can you please answer my question before you guys go?" All right. Send the question again. We'll make sure that we get to it. I'm not sure what the question is. Manny will get to it. He'll post it up. Thanks to Manny Chang for producing.
Ethan, are there any young power forwards or point guards that the Heat can trade for during the offseason to pair up with Duncan, Tyler, and Bam?
Point guards.
Power forwards or point guards.
Well, we've talked about guys they can sign at the 4, which would be Ibaka or Millsap.
Yeah, I don't know about trade.
Yeah, I don't know about. I mean, Lowry is the one guy in a trade, I guess.
Yeah, look for players that are going to expire in 2021. So when we say young players, that gets a little tricky unless you're talking about like a guy on a rookie contract. If you consider Donovan Mitchell a point guard, like there we go. But other than that, it's short-term options.
You guys have pointed out in the group text a few guys that you like, kind of under the radar guys.
Well, this one comes in. Javon Carter, even before.
Yeah,
that's one of them.
Was somebody that was mentioned. Who's the guy on Memphis that you guys like?
That's DeAnthony Melton. That's Nikias' guy.
Gary Payton Jr. has been talked about. He's kind of a point guard version of DJJ, but he's a good point of attack defender. Would be really cheap. Harry Giles from
Sacramento.
Sacramento. Yeah.
He looks like the kind of guy who would actually be a good role player on a good team if he got out of that environment. It's just hard to tell with players when they're in Sacramento. Whether they're gonna do anything. All right, we'll take the next question. Next question that goes in, and then we'll get out of this one. Again, Biscayne Bay Brewing. Go to BiscayneBayBrew.com. Do us a favor. If you have Instagram, tag Biscayne Bay Brew and 5 Reasons Sports. And post it up if you get any of their beer. Okay, we appreciate that. All right, we got time for one more question. So we'll take the next one that throws in. It's probably going to be Benjamin, right? That's
if we ever bring someone on, it needs to be Benjamin. By the way,
I hear this one comes in from Karbic Bead, who also follows us here quite a bit. Trade for Goran's new best friend Jokic, and move Bam to the 4. Denver's not moving Jokic.
They will never trade him. I don't think they would trade him for anyone in the league. Honestly, like they are attached to the hip.
I mean, they traded Nurkic to clean this up.
Correct.
Who wins in a fight, Ethan or Alex? Alex's shirt wins. I can't. What am I gonna do with Alex's shirt? There's nothing I can do about that. So anyway,
me and Ethan both been in the gym. It'll be a good one.
Go to 5reasonsports.com. Bucket Brothers shirt. I never would have worn this on press row. He's wearing the 5 on the floor official shirt. We Got Shooters shirt is there too. Black Lives Matter shirt. All 4 shirts are on our website for under $20. All right. So, no, that's not true. They're $21.55. That's not true.
The Black Lives Matter shirt is like 30.
Shut up. They were on the other site. They were cheaper, but they were also cheaper material. And here's the other thing: Printful's getting these out in like 2 days. Okay,
nice.
They're getting those out in like 2 days. So everybody's like getting their shirts right away. We got the new Tua shirt, the Tua caricature shirt, the franchise, which is actually my favorite of the Tua shirts, even though the other ones have sold a little bit more. So check that out as well. 5reasonsports.com. Follow Greg Sylvander. Follow Alf954. Follow Tropical Blanket and his shirt. And follow Ethan J. Skolnick. I don't know my own handle because I don't use it for sports anymore. And at 5 Reasons Sports. So fuck you if you say stick to sports, by the way.
I was just about to say it.
Good night.